Leo, this Sunday isn't just another date on the calendar. October 19th is your divine reset point. The final portal is opening, and nothing can stop what's coming. If you've been sensing something shifting lately, like time speeding up, or emotions hitting harder than usual, it's not in your head. There's a reason your energy feels different. This moment in time is not random. It's been building for years, and now the universe is handing you the key. Not to a door outside of you, but to the gateway inside your soul. Some of you have been waking up at odd hours, seeing repeating numbers like 1010, 144, or catching glimpses of your reflection and barely recognizing the person staring back. You might have felt more disconnected from old habits, friendships, or even your own goals. That's not a crisis. That's alignment. Your frequency is rising, and the old layers are falling off. This portal, Leo, isn't something you walk through. It's something you become. You've been doing the work even when no one saw. Even when it felt like nothing was happening. But the truth is, everything was happening. Your breakdowns, your breakthroughs, your silent prayers, your gut-wrenching decisions to let go, they've all been preparing you for this moment. And now, the universe is saying, step in. Not as someone trying to prove your worth, but as someone who finally remembers it. See, Leo. You're not here to fit into anything. You're here to radiate. You don't need permission. You don't need applause. You don't even need clarity right now. What you need is stillness, trust, and the courage to follow the pulse of your own knowing, even if no one else understands it yet. October 19th marks the energetic shift where the light inside of you stops waiting for the right moment and becomes the moment. This isn't about becoming something new. It's about remembering what's always been true. And if your heart feels a little heavy right now, or even a little unsure, that's okay. Big shifts don't feel light right away. They shake what's false, so what's real can rise. And make no mistake, something real is rising inside of you now. I want to take a moment to thank you for being here truly. Every like, every comment, every subscription on this channel brings you deeper into this space we're building together. A space for truth, light, and grounded transformation. Your presence isn't just seen, it's felt. And it's what keeps this message alive. So don't just watch this video like it's any other. Lean in. Stay with me until the end. Because what's waiting for you on the other side of this message might just change how you see yourself forever. Now tell me, what inside of you pulled you here today, at this exact moment? What energy, what intuition, what inner whisper led you to press play? If anything I've said already speaks to your soul, drop a comment below to confirm that connection. Let this be your way of saying, I'm ready. I'm aligned. I'm stepping into my portal. October 19th is mine. And believe me, you'll want to stay with me until the last second, because what the universe is revealing next is not only powerful, it's personal. Let's begin. Leo, let's slow down for a moment. After everything we've just touched, the signs, the callings, the timing, it's important that we now take a deeper breath and truly feel the ground we're standing on. October 19th isn't just a day circled on the calendar, it's a mirror held up to your soul. It doesn't ask who you've been, it asks, who are you becoming? And beneath all the distractions, noise, and expectations, I believe part of you already knows. The alignment happening on this day is no small ripple. When the Sun, your ruling planet, meets the balanced, justice-seeking energy of Libra, it's like the heart of the lion steps into the courtroom of the cosmos. Not to be judged, but to remember its throne. This alignment isn't here to test you, it's here to bring the scales back into balance. Not externally, but within. You might feel a strange emotional pull around this time, like your values are being audited, and that's exactly what's happening. It's not a punishment. It's a purification. Pluto, the planet of deep transformation and hidden power, is shifting direction in Capricorn, a sign that rules structure, order, legacy. So when this force begins to move, it stirs up the foundations inside you that were built for survival rather than truth. You may notice old habits resisting, outdated goals feeling hollow, or even roles you've played for years suddenly cracking. That's not chaos, that's your soul reclaiming its architecture. When structures fall, it's not because you failed. It's because they've finished teaching you who you're not. And then, there's the moon quietly syncing with the sun in what some call the soul timeline. This isn't some mystical concept meant to sound pretty. This is the moment in your personal timeline when a door swings open between who you thought you were and the version of you that's already waiting, not in the future, but in potential. If you've been feeling emotional surges, disconnection, sleeplessness at spiritual hours, or seeing people suddenly exit your life, I want you to understand, this is not loss. This is alignment. Life doesn't always take away to hurt you. Sometimes it clears the path when you hesitate to do it yourself. I've seen many people go through this kind of internal shift, and the bravest ones are always the quietest. Not because they don't feel, but because they're listening deeper than the noise around them. They're watching their old identity fade, not with fear, but with gratitude. There's an old teaching that says, before a leaf falls, the tree has already decided to let go. So what has your soul already decided to release? And are you ready to catch up to its wisdom? The tarot echoes this shift with striking clarity. The Sun card reminds you that you've never needed to borrow light, you've always had it. Judgment calls out the ancient part of you that has waited for this exact initiation. And the Tower, that terrifying, misunderstood card, shows up to tell you that whatever's crumbling is doing so to give you back your freedom. No more pretending. No more posturing. No more forcing. You are not the lion roaring from behind the bars of a self-made cage. You are the king or queen stepping into the open, no longer needing applause to know your worth. And the most powerful truth? You don't need a stage to perform on anymore. You are the stage. And if this is hitting you somewhere deep, if you're nodding through your tears, if your breath is catching, or you feel that quiet ache in your chest, that's your higher self whispering, this is it. You're not late. You're right on time. Let this be the moment where you stop doubting and start stepping. Comment below if you feel this shift, if you feel something awakening inside of you. Let this be your way of saying, yes, I'm listening. Yes, I'm ready. You don't need a script. You just need presence. October 19th isn't about dramatic change from the outside, and it's about silent power returning from the inside out. Let's walk through this together. There comes a moment in every journey where you stop looking outward and start realizing the shift is happening inside you. And for you, Leo, that moment is now. You're not just walking through a portal on October 19th, you're becoming one. That sounds like a lot, I know. But the truth is, this isn't about grandiosity or some lofty spiritual concept. It's about energy, raw, real, present, and how yours is no longer moving like it used to. Have you noticed your instincts are sharper lately? Not in a dramatic or mystical way, but in those quiet, everyday nudges. A feeling before something happens. A knowing without evidence. A sudden pull to walk away from what used to feel safe. That's your inner frequency shifting. And when your vibration rises like that, your perception shifts with it. You no longer need logic to explain what your body already understands. You're reading rooms differently. You're sensing intentions. You're seeing truth in silence. This is not imagination. This is energetic maturity. Your physical body feels it too. Electronics flicker. Your phone lags or shuts off without warning. Wi-Fi becomes unstable. You walk into a room and the air feels heavier or suddenly clearer. These aren't technical glitches. They're evidence of an internal upgrade. You're moving into a new electromagnetic field, one that doesn't quite match the systems around you yet. You're not broken. You're just outgrowing the circuit. And then there are people. Some are inexplicably drawn to you. Others quietly disappear. It hurts, I won't sugarcoat that. There's confusion. There's grief. But there's also space, and that space is sacred. You're not being abandoned. You're being realigned. Think of it like tuning a radio. As your signal sharpens, stations that once played loud in your life begin to fade, not because they're wrong, but because they no longer match your clarity. This isn't a social problem. This is soul physics. You're not being punished. You're being purified. That's what people forget. Elevation often looks like isolation. But in reality, you're being ushered into a room where only those who resonate can enter. You're not losing relationships. You're gaining resonance. When energy changes like this, it's easy to feel lost. But here's the deeper truth. You're not lost at all. You're shedding layers. You're moving from the noise of who you had to be into the stillness of who you actually are. It's like the sky clearing after a storm, not because the clouds gave up, but because they were never meant to stay. This shift is more than emotional. It's architectural. You're being rewired. It's not about fixing the old pattern. It's about recognizing it was too small for you all along. In ancient teachings, they say the path does not appear in front of you. It emerges beneath your feet as you walk. And that's exactly what this phase of your life is teaching you. You don't need a map. You need movement. You don't need to find the path. You are the path. You're not a seeker anymore. You're a transmitter. A guidepost. A lighthouse. You don't need to carry others. Just stand in your frequency, and those meant to walk beside you will feel it. They won't need convincing. They'll recognize your light like a familiar song. So when things glitch, when people leave, when you feel out of place, breathe. Smile if you can. You're not falling apart. You're coming into form. And that, Leo, is the power of becoming the portal, not walking through it. You're no longer asking for the door to open. You are the door. There's something fascinating that happens when your inner energy shifts. The outside world doesn't just reflect it, it starts moving at the pace of your thoughts. After October 19th, this effect becomes impossible to ignore. The days may feel like they're moving faster, and yet certain hours seem to stretch. What used to take months to change now shifts within a week, sometimes even a conversation. It's not magic. It's alignment. The universe isn't rushing you, it's responding to you in real time. What this means practically is that every thought, every feeling, every small intention starts to act like a signal. You're no longer just observing your reality, you're coding it. Imagine every idea you entertain as a string of commands being entered into a system that executes instantly. The moment you dwell on something, whether that's worry or hope, fear or gratitude, the architecture of your reality starts adjusting to mirror it. This isn't just spiritual theory. It's energetic cause and effect. That's why you might feel more sensitive lately. The things you say in passing tend to show up. The moods you carry quietly in your chest begin to shape how people respond to you. The more reactive you are, the more reactive life becomes. But here's the power in that: the more intentional you are, the more precise the outcomes. That's where your agency lives, not in controlling life, but in creating the conditions for life to unfold differently. So what do you do with that kind of power? You take inventory not of your goals, but of your thoughts. Most of us run on the same loops day after day. But loops can either build or break you. Clearing space mentally is no different than tidying your home. You're not just removing clutter, you're inviting clarity. If there are thoughts you replay that come from fear, shame, regret, pause and question them. Ask if they belong to you anymore. Then consciously replace them with thoughts that align with where you want to go, not where you've been. Your body also needs to be supported in this process. When manifestation speeds up, your nervous system notices. That's why grounding practices are key right now. Reduce stimulants if you can. Add magnesium-rich foods like dark leafy greens or pumpkin seeds. Even 10 minutes of stillness in the morning, no phone, no scrolling, can help you stay coherent throughout the day. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to be present. In your work life, this is the time to rewrite goals, but write them from a different place. Not from, what do I need to achieve, but from, what energy do I want to express? That subtle shift changes everything. Prioritize projects that bring people together, or that nourish your creative integrity. The more heart you bring to what you do, the more magnetism you carry without even trying. Financially, start tracking more than just your spending. Track your energetic exchanges. Where does your attention go? Who gets your time? What drains you without giving anything back? Money is just one form of energy. Your attention is another. Start spending both wisely. And in relationships, begin noticing what your energy says before your words do. Sometimes what we say gets overshadowed by how we feel. Practice presence. When you're with someone, really be there. Put the phone down. Breathe deeper. Let your presence speak louder than performance. Everything you think, feel, say, and do now functions like input into a system that doesn't delay. It listens, translates, and mirrors back. You are not waiting for results anymore, you are receiving them as you broadcast. So broadcast clearly, kindly, powerfully. Imagine your thoughts like lines of code. What kind of world are you programming today? This is your moment to write from intention, not reaction. Because now, the universe isn't just listening, it's responding. Sometimes the most powerful shifts don't come from effort, they come from attention. Not the kind of attention that seeks validation, but the kind that listens. Quietly. Patiently. With reverence. That's what this next part is really about. After everything we've explored, the alignment, the activation, the rapid shifts in reality, there's a moment where you're asked to stop reaching forward and simply allow something to arrive through you. October 19th isn't just about breakthrough. It's about embodiment. And for that, you need a ritual. Not for the sake of performance, but for the sake of remembering. A ritual, at its core, is a way to bring your whole self, your mind, your breath, your body into one present moment. That's it. No incense or ancient chants required. Just presence. One of the simplest, most profound ways to enter that space is to begin with the very tools you already have: breath, intention, and stillness. Turn off the devices. Let silence reclaim the room. Light a single white candle, not for ceremony's sake, but because it reminds the brain what the soul already knows. One small flame can change the entire atmosphere. Then place your hand over your heart. Not the poetic heart, your literal, beating one. The center of life that has carried you through every version of yourself. That's your anchor. Now close your eyes. Breathe in like you're receiving something ancient. Breathe out like you're letting go of everything that told you you weren't ready. And then speak slowly, intentionally, not as a request, but as a remembering. I am the light. I am the gateway. I am the miracle. Say it again. Then again. Each repetition is not just an affirmation, it's an energetic signature. You're not asking the universe to bring you into alignment. You're declaring that you are the alignment. What follows isn't always immediate. But something opens. Not out there, but in here. You might see flashes of color, feel warmth in unexpected places, or notice the hair on your arms stand up for no clear reason. You may see numbers repeat: 1010, 144, 1111. Not because they're magical, but because your mind is finally quiet enough to notice the conversation the universe has been trying to have with you. You might spot a feather where there shouldn't be one. A soft flicker of light in the corner of your eye. A memory that stirs emotion without warning. These aren't tricks. These are mirrors. They're feedback. And they matter. You're not hallucinating. You're harmonizing. Your system, physical, mental, emotional, is syncing with something greater than routine. You're no longer standing at the edge of your transformation. You're inside it. What's beautiful about this process is how unique it becomes. No two people will experience this exactly the same way. That's the point. You're not being asked to follow. You're being invited to reconnect with yourself. The deeper you go, the clearer things get. Not necessarily easier, but clearer. And clarity is power. It's been said that enlightenment isn't some grand arrival, it's the gentle awareness of what has always been here. When you stop trying to become something, you remember you already are. The ritual simply helps you listen again. So if any part of this experience speaks to you, share it. Say something in the comments. Your words could be the reflection someone else needs. Your moment might become someone else's reminder. You're not alone in this. None of us are. And while this portal may feel personal, it's also collective. What rises in you has ripple effects beyond what you can see. That's the beauty of presence. It doesn't shout. It resonates. Let this be your resonance. Let this be your beginning. The truth is, rituals are not meant to be confined to a room with candles and silence. That moment of connection, that feeling of presence, it doesn't end when you blow out the flame. What you did in that space wasn't just symbolic. It was a recalibration. And the real power of ritual begins once you walk back into your ordinary life and realize you've brought something extraordinary with you. The days that follow October 19th might not look different on the surface. You'll still get emails. Bills will still arrive. Someone might cut you off in traffic. But internally, if you were present during the activation, you'll start noticing tiny shifts in how you respond. You might pause before reacting. You might breathe a little deeper in moments of tension. You might even smile, quietly, without knowing why. That's not coincidence. That's coherence. You're starting to live from the place you touched during the ritual. Think of it like the stillness of water. When it's stirred, you can't see to the bottom. But when it settles, not by force, but by allowing, the clarity returns. In many teachings, the goal is not to eliminate thought or feeling. It's to see them clearly without drowning in them. When you hold that inner clarity, your outer world begins to shift, not by effort, but by reflection. People respond to your calm. Decisions feel less pressured. Timing feels more fluid. You stop chasing, and things begin arriving. You'll also begin to see how the universe continues the conversation in symbols. A feather at your feet, a line in a book you didn't expect to read, a stranger's words that echo your private thoughts. These aren't signs to chase. They're confirmations that your frequency is being acknowledged. And here's the thing, the more gently you engage with them, the more frequently they appear. You're not being tested. You're being met. Not on the surface, but at the depth you're willing to show up. One of the most powerful ways to carry this energy forward is through observation without judgment. When doubt arises, and it will treat it like a passing cloud, not a truth to defend against. When emotion rises, allow it without attaching a story to it. You're not here to suppress anything. You're here to witness yourself honestly. That witnessing becomes wisdom. And wisdom creates space. Space to choose differently. To act with compassion instead of reaction. To hold presence instead of control. You don't need to fix your entire life all at once. That's not the invitation. The invitation is simply to return to the flame you lit, not just physically, but internally, and ask, what would this version of me choose right now? Sometimes that choice is rest. Sometimes it's courage. Sometimes it's silence. Sometimes it's speaking with love, even when your voice shakes. You don't have to get it perfect. You just have to return. This is how transformation becomes sustainable. Not as a moment of intensity, but as a steady unfolding. Like petals opening toward the sun, not because they were told to, but because they remembered how. And that's what you're doing now. You're not forcing change. You're becoming receptive to your own light again. So if you're wondering what happens next, the answer is simple: you live. But you live differently. With softer eyes. With a stronger spine. with a quieter mind and a louder heart. You don't need to be anyone new. You just need to stop forgetting who you already are. And that remembering is the real miracle. Of all the truths you've heard in this video, maybe the most important one is this: you are no longer waiting for the miracle, you are the miracle. You don't need someone else to open the portal for you. You don't need permission to become who you've always been. You are the threshold. You are the turning point. You are the one your future self has been calling toward, whispering, now. If you've stayed with me this far, I know something inside you has already begun to shift. Maybe it's subtle. Maybe it's loud. Maybe you don't fully understand it yet, and that's okay. Growth rarely feels like certainty. But it does feel like recognition. And the moment you recognize yourself in these words, in this message, in this moment, that's where the new timeline begins. So let me ask you gently, but truthfully, what would change in your life if you stopped seeking the light and chose to be it? What would open if you believed that nothing is outside your reach anymore, because you're finally reaching from the right place, the place within you that already knows the way? October 19th isn't the magic. You are. The date is just the reminder. A cosmic reflection of your readiness. And I know it's tempting to doubt it. To second guess. To wonder if this really applies to you. But let me lovingly offer you this: if you weren't ready, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't have been drawn to this video, this message, this moment. Now is not the time to shrink back. Now is the time to step with presence. To speak as though your voice matters. To breathe as though every breath is a prayer in motion. To make decisions from alignment, not fear. And to carry yourself like someone who finally sees their own light, not just in glimpses, but in full clarity. So before we close, I invite you to pause and ask yourself, what part of me have I been hiding from my own power? What would it look like to let that part lead now? And if this resonates with you, if even one line has stirred something deeper, I'd love for you to share that in the comments below. Let this not just be something you listened to. Let it be something you answered. Write it. Speak it. Claim it. Even if it's just this one sentence: I claim my final portal destiny, October 19th is mine. Thank you, truly, for spending this time with me. For trusting your energy with this space. Every like, every comment, every share, every time you choose to subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness, you're helping us build something sacred, not just a channel, but a soul-centered home for awakening. And believe me, this is only the beginning. There are more portals ahead. More activations waiting. And I'd be honored to walk that journey with you. So go live today, not like someone hoping something good will happen, but like someone who is what's happening. You're not a student of light anymore. You are a transmitter of it. Walk like you've remembered. Speak like the universe is listening. Because it is. And it's waiting for your next step. Don't take small steps anymore. Take awakened ones. Let's move together with intention, with grace, with power. And I'll meet you in the next message, right where your soul knows to find me.